morning, good evening, and good afternoon. This is the Angels in Politics broadcast. Of course, you are the news. Remember, you are always the news. You have always been the news, and we just can't take our eyes off of you. So take that with a grain of salt, or don't. But I think it's imperative for you to know how important you are to our daily, coming and goings, and our day-to-day interactions. So I'm excited to just to follow your growth and your development, like truly. Um, I am the White Collar Goon, the creative artistic manifestation of Angels in Politics, and as you can see, I'm in front of my home, and I got the trees behind me. I'm at one with nature. The sun was out. The sun is like to my right. It's beaming down on me. It's covered by the clouds, and God bless that. And I really want to talk to you about a few things. One, I was watching this film. I was watching this film a few days ago, and it's interesting because back in the day, as if like whatever that means, but like in the past, I used to be able to sit down and like play video games for hours, or I could look at a film for however long it was, and really be thoroughly like intrigued in it and engaged, and wouldn't move and stuff like that. But like now, I find it to be a chore, which is a good thing. Of course, that's a really good thing. Um, yeah, but it's a task in itself just for me to sit down and watch a film that's 2 hours. Like I have to break it up and come back to it. I have to break it up and come back to it, even if it's a good film. Sometimes, like even if it's a really good film, it's just like the the restlessness in my body, or just how like sore that my backside gets whilst I'm sitting on the floor, or really just for me to fully internalize and process the the intricacies of the film, the to to crystallize and to fully come to, you know, a firm, evaluation of what is being projected on the screen. I have to take my time with it, right? I mean, everybody doesn't feel that way, and I feel like that goes into like the types of films that I look at. Like I mentioned, I watch film. I try to stay away from just like generic moving pictures that are classified as movies, or what constitutes a movie nowadays. Yeah, I'm kind of cool on that type of shit. But like things that are innovative, things that are thought provoking, films that are abstract, cerebral, mind bending, new, um, films that offer an alternative, or an alternate, or a just a creative way to express character development and themes and plots, and just something that is just yeah, new. Yeah, I like those types of things. But I was watching this film the other day. Well, it wasn't a film, it was a bullshit ass movie, and it was like one of those raunchy, I can't even call it. It was supposed to be a rom-com, but it wasn't. And when I say raunchy, it's not like it was a porn or anything. Actually, it was some trash. But um, it was like goofy. It was like a goofy like white boy movie. And I watch a lot of movies that are predominantly white people in it, just to get a different perspective of like how they see the world, or how they want to project the world through a media lens, or through a film lens. But it was just interesting. It was called 40 Days and 40 Nights. It's an old film. It was probably like shot in 2001. It came out like in 2002. Josh Hartnett is in it, and a few other people who you would know if you were to see them. But oh yeah, they're working out. They're out there pushing the whip. But okay, so this movie's predicated upon the concept of this individual, right? So this dude is in love with his girlfriend in the beginning of the film, and he's head over heels, and they're living in San Francisco, and their pictures are all over the wall in his apartment that he lives. He shares his flat with a roommate, and it's his homeboy, and he sprung, but the film starts off with them breaking up. or she breaks up with him, and um, in the time that has elapsed since their breakup, he's been going out to clubs and he's been at the bar. Or he's just been in the scene, and that San Francisco scene in the early 2000s, that early tech scene. He works at a .com website and or company. So picture this. This is before. MySpace and social media. This is before like the emergence of artificial intelligence. This is before iPhone, that type of shit. So this is 2000s, like literally 2001. So the .com bubble had just burst, and you have these people who are making like incredible amounts of money, like exponential sums of wealth in a short time period or a short time span, due to the potential or the potentiality of their product or service that they offer, right? So you have this young guy in the city, broke up with his girlfriend, or his girlfriend broke up with him, and he's getting laid like left and right. He's going to the club, he's going to the bar. He's just, his friend seems to be particularly keen on the ladies as well, and they're just bringing girls back to the flat. They meet girls from Lake Tahoe, they're coming through. They had some girls that they met from Australia a few months ago. They're in town for the weekend. He's bringing her through, and he's just running through them, evidently. And he ends up confessing to a priest who happens to be his brother, and his brother is like training to be a priest, so he's like a priest in training. And he's confessing to his brother like how he's just getting so much feminine energy from women, that he feels like he's doing this thing to fill a void. And every time he's hooking up with girls, he's having these weird flashes of I don't know, like dark thoughts, but not dark like in the sense that he can't do what he wants to do. It's more so like he feels like the ceiling is, cracking above him, and he's going into this deep, dark, abyss, and he feels like that's his consciousness telling him that, he's just trying to placate his lack of fulfillment or his emotional distress due to the love of his life now being gone, and he finds out that she's like engaged to another guy. And so he talks to his priest of a brother, and his brother tells him he should renounce, or he needs to renunciate some of those activities that he feels like is taking him away from his happiness, his joy. And I'm paraphrasing this. So around this time is Easter, or they're coming up to Lent, which is a few weeks before Easter. And he tells him, he's sacrificing whatever it is that he's sacrificing for Lent. And the guy who's getting all of this ass is like, yo, maybe I should sacrifice sex. Maybe I should go 40 days, 40 nights without having sex. And he's like, cold turkey, no sex, no masturbation, which is like the big cherry on the top. Is like, not only am I not going to have sex, I'm not going to look at porn, no magazines. And this is like big for him. It's big for any like male. It's huge for any male, particularly if you're in your teenage years, early 20s, mid 20s, 30s, 40, maybe just for men in general. Just for men in general. I mean, to cut off your supply of incessant desire, and most of our incessant desires are predicated in the lower regions. Then yeah, it's quite the feat. So this dude is doing this, and it's the concept of the movie could have been so well. The concept of the movie was fine. I think the way it was executed was supposed to be very comedy, or very comedic, very light-hearted, very silly, very goofy. Very goofy was the premise or the theme, but I felt like the movie, just based on what I'm explaining to you, it could have been so much better. But yeah, this dude is like on this fast, so to speak, from sex. He renounces sex for 40 days, and the wildest thing is like during that time, and he was already getting like play before. He was already going to the bar and having girls like, yeah, no, pulling up on him, and he was already walking into the fucking like glass door at some shop and having a woman, you know, pick him up from the side of the street and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Is there any way that I can make it up to you?" And it's of course it's the hot, you know, chick who probably does yoga with the flat stomach and the blonde hair and, you know, the symmetrical facial features, like, you know, it's and she's like 25, you know, so it's like there are, he was already getting the archetypes, certain archetypes thrown at him. But once he does this 40 days, 40 night sacrifice of sex, women are like literally like falling out the sky. I mean, the women at his workplace, I'm talking like the hot ones, not the probably the women that you normally see at your workplace. You know, like these are the brunettes and the redheads and the blondes and all these ladies who are probably no more than 130 pounds soaking wet, and they're slim and slender, and they have a thigh gap, and, you know, they do Pilates and spin classes in the mornings, and they drink, you know, matcha lattes and green super food, you know, shots with wheatgrass. Like, you know, these types of girls are like opening up their blouse for them, and they're locking them up in the storage closet and telling them how they want to have a threesome with them, and it's just ridiculous shit. Like, just all kind of ridiculous things. Like, he's on the BART, you know, the public transit in San Francisco, and like the hot lady who comes in, who steps onto the tram is like, "Oh, is anybody sitting there? Can I sit with you?" And it's like, I'm looking at this shit, and it's, I guess the premise is supposed to be like, okay, since he's not having sex, he's now become this, even more so, this magnet of feminine energy. Like, women just can't resist him now because he hasn't had sex, and he's refusing to have sex, and he's not desiring the sex, and the whole time he's squeamish and he's squirming, and he's like, he can't, you know, he's controlling himself, but it's almost like he's looking like a dog in heat, and he looks like, you know, he's just fumbling about. He's already a goofy, kind of awkward guy as it was, but like now that all of these women, these hot girls are just, you know, looking at him and staring him down and approaching him when he knows he can't have sex, it's like, it's taken it to a new level. So I say all this to say is like, if you're listening, I plan on, and I will reconfigure and restructure and decondition to recondition the concept of romance on film, the concept of human to human interaction, specifically pertaining to intimate relationships on film. I thoroughly will change and transform the way, you know, people look at relationships, sex, instincts, your instinctual or instinctive, intuitive desires and predilections, and the whole provoking, you know, idiosyncratic nature of a human being, the nuanced behaviorism and mannerisms of human beings, particularly dealing with the sexual politics of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. I mean, I will continue to harp on, you know, pushing and promoting a new brand of film and cinema that deals and addresses and contextualizes these issues and these challenges and the beauty in it, and to see the magnificent magnitude of the spectrum of personality and love and enjoyment and enjoyable pleasure, and how multi-layered that whole dialogue, discourse, back and forth process of coming to a level of intimacy or consummation, or a way of having some physical interaction and engagement within film, because I was low key turned up, as you can tell, when I was watching it, because it's like that shit doesn't happen in real life. Like, no, I'm not a white guy working at a .com tech company in San Francisco in 2002. Like, so no, or in 2020 for that matter. So it's like, no, I can't speak to how all guys have their how they engage with women, or how they interface with women, or how they apply their programming to interface with women. But I can just tell, based on just like the average operating system as it pertains to a human being, because we are all like, let's say we are these, we are machines manifested through flesh. I don't see how people, like, I don't see how women operate in that manner. Like, I mean, like, not even close, not even remotely close do women operate in that manner, especially the women that they have portrayed in the film. Like, women who are between the ages of 20 and 36, 30, like, it's not happening. I mean, not even for women who are 45, but like, I mean, it's just not happening. Women aren't approaching men and provoking them for sexual. I mean, they might provoke them indirectly. They might provoke men in a passive aggressive way, more so passive than aggressive. They might, do these types of roundabout ways to get you to talk to them, to engage with them, to offer, to make an offer for sexual advancement. And you might think, oh, like, you're being forward, but really she, like, led you to the water and practically put your face in the water for you to drink it. I mean, she allowed you to, like, give you your own self-confidence, like, oh, this is me going for it. But like, really, she set it all up for you. And yeah, the girls are masterminds at that. But as far as like what I saw in the film, like, as far as like women pulling up on you at the train station, or as far as women approaching you at the laundromat. That's how you met. The movie ends with him meeting the woman from the laundromat, and she's like chatting him up. Like, he's quiet because of course he's supposed to be celibate and not having sex, so he just figures he just won't speak to women in public anymore. And this guy's just doing his laundry, and the hot, Latina lady comes in, or she has some Mediterranean descent, and she's over there with the flat stomach, with the halter top, and she's probably not older than 31, and she's just like chatting him up and asking him questions and sitting next to him and introducing herself and all of this shit, and the guy isn't saying a word. And I'm like, this does not happen. This does not happen. The guy who's tripping over his feet in the streets, falling over, does not get picked up by the woman who's the yoga instructor, hot girl who probably graduated from San Francisco State, or went to UCal Berkeley, and is saying, yeah, like, come to my flat tonight because I'm so into you. Like, it does not happen that way. Like, you're not going to the bars and you're sitting there looking aimlessly around, and next the hot, lady from the Bay Area, who's of Japanese descent, with the mini skirt, and who looks like a fucking Sex Pistol, approaches you and like just chats you up and buys you a drink and brings you home and fucks your brains out. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, I know the film, that's what the point of films are. Maybe that's the point of movies, just to be like completely ridiculous and to completely throw out stereotypes, or maybe not stereotypes, but throw out these general practices of human behavior, normal human behavior, and just, mix it up and throw some, new shit in there. But like, I'm sorry, like, and I'm not sorry by saying this, but I'm sorry, like, that shit doesn't happen. I don't care if you're David Beckham. I don't care if you're young Denzel Washington. I don't care if you're young Brad Pitt. I don't care if you're Idris Elba, George Clooney, Shamar Moore from the 90s, whatever the case may be. You can be the most handsome, archetypal, square jaw, 8-pack, 6-foot, whatever person of all time. And if you think that these women are just gonna come out of the wazoo and just pull up on you and offer their divine feminine nature to you off the strength of your face and you standing there, that is a falsehood. Namaste. Namaskar.